In this tutorial, I'll demonstrate how to improve the appearance of this image by adjusting the levels, vibrance, and brightness contrast. Full disclosure, you are never going to make this image look Instagram worthy or worthy of any food blog. This is a poorly taken photo of unappealing looking French fries. So just brace yourself that this is not going to look like something that you would see in a food magazine. Once you've come to terms with that, we can move forward and try to edit this to at least improve the appearance of this photo. So to get started, we are going to create some new adjustment layers today. You may have noticed since we started this photo editing process that we started out by editing the original layer of the image, and slowly we've introduced to you the concept of non-destructive photo editing. So what that means is that we're editing photos in a way where it doesn't totally destroy the original image. You can always revert back to it. And essentially, it's going to end up where you have multiple layers of this image. So if you need to make some adjustment to one of the adjustments that you've made, for example, if you change the levels, but then want to go back and, adjust those levels again or delete the level change altogether, it's not impossible to do that because you're editing this photo in a way where you have all of your adjustments in individual layers. So essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to add a new layer, but this time we're not just going to duplicate the layer, we're going to add a specific type of layer. So for example, let's go up to the layer menu and go down to new adjustment layer. And let's choose levels first. So instead of going to image adjustments levels, we're going to find the level adjustment this way. And when we do that, you'll notice that a new layer menu pops up. It asks you what you want to name it, and you can simply say OK. So now you can see over in the bottom right-hand corner that I have the original background image, but I've added a layer on top of it where I'm going to adjust some of the individual color levels to try to improve the appearance of this photo. Okay, so in the video tutorial from yesterday, you learned a little bit about what these sliders do, the dark and the light on each slider. Okay, so you should already have a little bit of experience with that. Honestly, I'm still at the point where every time I open a different image adjustment in Photoshop, I always play with the sliders a little bit and just remind myself of what they do. Okay, I'm not somebody who's photo editing every single day. For those people, this is probably second nature and they know exactly what they need to do to get the type of adjustment that they're looking for. I always have to refresh my memory a little bit. And if this is your first time editing photos, take that time that you need to remind yourself of what these tools do. So looking at this photo, my first instinct is that it's very monochromatic. It's yellow, yellow, brown, yellow. So if we want to create some contrast there, if we want to reduce some of the yellowness of the whole thing, we can, adjust some of the levels to do that. So I'm in RGB mode. And when I use the sliders, you'll notice that this kind of just darkens it. I don't know if that's good or bad at this point. This is going to be an image where you have to play around with it a lot to figure out what the best thing to do to improve this is. Okay, when I use this slider, I find it gets a little brighter. Okay, it's kind of dark, it's kind of shadowy. So let's trust my instincts on this. I'm going to make it a little brighter. Now, I don't want to wash it out and make it too bright, okay? I still want to see the details on that to-go packaging, right? I still want to see that there are creases and lines, all right? So maybe just adjust it a little bit and leave it and see how it is, okay? Try the other sliders, see if any of these adjustments improve the image, and then go on and do the same for the red, the green, and the blue. And if you don't see that any of those adjustments actually improve the appearance of the photo, you don't have to adjust them, okay? If you're content with this, you can hide the menu by clicking that double arrow, tucking that away. You can see that at any point, you can go back into those level adjustments to make any changes, all right? And now we're ready to try another new adjustment layer. So now we're going back to the layer menu. We're going down to new adjustment layer. And this time we'll go into vibrance, okay? It's going to create a vibrance layer, click OK, and here's my menu for adjusting the vibrance and the saturation. So again, remind yourself of what this does. I always like to go to the extremes, see what the extremes do, and then go back to 0, and then make slight adjustments and see if anything that you're doing improves the appearance at all, okay? I'm not noticing a huge improvement when I increase the vibrance. When I decrease it, not sure that that's an improvement either, right? Maybe I need to do a more subtle increase or decrease, okay? So I decrease the vibrance slightly. Okay, that might help a little bit. Now let's play with the saturation. I definitely don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to remove the color altogether because we still do need to keep this an image that has color. All right, so now I'm going to go back to 0. Okay, and now, all right, well, what if I decrease the saturation a little bit? It's still monochromatic. I'm still not really making an improvement there. So what if I increase the saturation a little bit? I don't know. Is that an improvement? It's hard to tell. Some ways that you can tell to, compare this to the original is to go down to the layer menu and just turn off the layers. That was what we started with. This was after I adjusted the levels, and the change that came when I adjusted the vibrance was minimal. I'm going to leave it at that. I can still go back and adjust the vibrance at any time. But for now, we'll leave it at that. And let's go in and add another adjustment layer. Layer. New adjustment layer. And this time we'll go into brightness and contrast and click OK. All right. And again, remind yourself of what the sliders do. Okay. Go back to 0 and then make some slight adjustments. Again, you don't want to wash this out entirely. Okay. You also don't want it to be dark and shadowy. So maybe slightly making it brighter. Let's go to some extremes here with the contrast. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So I'm almost wondering if I reduce the contrast. I don't know. Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. I'm going to go over to my layers, turn this off. The background especially is a little less yellow by adjusting the brightness and contrast. So this is the little game that you're going to play. There's no one, right way to resolve this image. Like I said, you're never going to get this to look like a good food photograph. You're just trying to improve the appearance of the image. So if you can get to a point where it looks something like this, I would be satisfied with that. And definitely take some time and explore these tools today. I would focus on levels, vibrance, and brightness contrast. And when you're satisfied, you can save this as a JPEG and upload it to your Google slideshow. All right, so have fun with your non-destructive photo editing, and I look forward to seeing some improved images of these French fries. All right, thanks everyone. Have fun.